Let's get going. So I am Paul Bennett, sales engineer for Bigeye, and today is a webinar to show you Bigeye and how we find and fix anomalies. So we're actually going to work through an actual workflow from anomaly to close. Actually, we'll probably get all the way to the actual fix. So what's the cost of bad data? Well, I was a little shocked when I saw some of these numbers that every year poor data quality can cost companies up to $15 million, or that bad data strips the US economy of 3.1 trillion. Expand that to the world, you can imagine how big this number is. Now, I was shocked, but there are actually customers that we work with that aren't shocked at all. This is how bad data can affect them. It can affect them through a lot of issues. Broken apps, inaccurate dashboards, disrupted ML models is huge. If you have a model that does pricing or ad bidding or anything like that, you can only imagine the type of revenue loss that you can experience from a disrupted model. So bad data, how do we stop it? Well, we need data observability. We need the ability to see what's happening in our data and the ability to find those problems, those anomalies, and be able to catch them. So enter Bigeye. Bigeye is a product that will watch your data. It sees its reliability, whether or not it's functioning, your pipelines are moving, and everything about your data so that you can properly understand its reliability and whether or not it can be trusted down the line. So what does this result in? Well, properly implemented a data quality solution and anomaly monitoring is going to give you more reliable application data. It's going to give you accurate dashboards. We just talked about those ML models, right? Now, all of a sudden, you can trust those ML models. You can trust the ad bidding that's happening to make sure that revenue is properly intact for that kind of situation. So what's our approach? Well, we're going to talk briefly here about this pyramid. So pipeline reliability. Is the data flowing? Is it loading? Is it making it all the way downstream to the consumer of the data? That's our pipeline reliability. So I call these operational metrics. So these operational metrics are things like how many rows are loading into a warehouse? How often is it loading? How old is the data that it's loading? We need to know that it's fresh and that the volume is correct. So we're monitoring for any anomalies in that. Did an ETL job fail, for example? Next is the data quality itself. So in our data, if we have user IDs, for example, in a table, we want to ensure that the user IDs are not duplicated. We want one unique user, one unique ID per user, right? And then from this, we can get business insights. Is there a trend over time? Is there growth in the data? Is there growth in the number of users? Is that growth higher than expected? These are all things that we're going to be able to capture with a properly set up monitoring capability on this. And then bonus layer underneath this whole pyramid is the ability to handle an issue. It's the ability to create meaningful alerts and issues that give you proper insight into what's really wrong with the data. We don't want lots of false positives. We don't want lots of chatter. We want a nice, easy workflow to be able to capture real problems, see them all the way through to fix, and then verify that fix. All right, so to show this today, we are going to do a bit of a product demo. So as soon as I log into Bigeye, I'm right now going to be a data engineer in a retailer. All right, so this is a marketplace. It's a marketplace that sells different types of less common these days audio media. Right, so we're specifically selling cassettes and CDs and things like that. This is why we call it tunes of our youth. because tunes of our current, of course, is all digital streaming stuff. Well, in this marketplace, we have an automatic pricing model. People sell their LPs, for example, their records in our marketplace, and they actually figure out the value of their record based on what the market is doing, right? So we can offer this automatic pricing for them. There are a lot of pricing models like this. Amazon has pricing models that do this for items in their marketplace. Airbnb actually has automatic pricing so that people can know how much their home is worth at any given time for a night's stay. So in this model, we have a few things. We have a machine learning model that's actually doing the price calculations. We have dashboards that our users and the executives of our company are able to use to see these prices and to see other things that are happening in the platform. Well, today we have received a Slack message that is an error. And that Slack message says that we have an issue. We have an issue with our orders table. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to go to issues here. We're going to find our orders table. We're going to see the issues that exist in here. So we've got, this is a minimum unit prices alerting on price per unit. All right, well, that's important. So I've gone in and I've acknowledged this. We have one of 17 groups is alerting on the average unit price in here. Interesting. Okay, so you can see under here at the very bottom, you can see that we have all of this lineage here, and you can see right at the beginning we have red, right, from the very beginning, and you can see that it actually flows through to production, then to the AWS catalog, right through to the orders, and then through here to the actual pricing forecasts. So using our lineage, you can see we've got a root cause, right down here, the fully red table, an open issue. Well, no surprise, we got cascading issues rolling right through the pipeline here, right through to the sales dashboard, right? So let's click on this one specifically. This is the root cause. Let's figure out what's happened. Okay, so variance is alerting on baseline price. Oh no, okay, so this table here, this table is the input that our market managers use. They input for their region, for their state that they're watching, they input the actual value of a baseline price for a particular type of product. So you can see this variance, right? You can actually see, let's have a look at this column. We'll go right to the baseline price column. There you go. The minimum just dropped. It's been steadily climbing the minimum price, and then all of a sudden it goes from $12.56 right down to 19 cents. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's look a little bit deeper at this. So I want to know what is my impact here. Well, I'm gonna check that variance issue again. Let's navigate through to that and have a look at our lineage and where it's going. It's going all the way. This is actually a dashboard in Tableau. So, all right, we're going to click on this and try and figure out what's happening. All right, so here's a debug query. I'm just going to run a preview and see. Here are the rows that are actually creating a problem. 74 rows. All of them, look at here's what we've got in common. New Mexico, right there. Okay, so New Mexico is creating an issue of some sort. It's the one that's creating that problem. Well, I'm going to go right through to that orders table. And we have here, look, grouped by shipping state. There you go. New Mexico has actually been really constant, even compared to all the others. Then all of a sudden, it's a drop. Okay, so this knowing that our source table on this whole thing is actually way back down into the OLTP here. It was this marketing updates table. This is the source. And so if we can now, I'm going to open up that database and we're going to have a look. All right. Based on what we found there. All right. Here are all of the prices that our users are inputting here. Let's just do a sort. We'll do an ascending sort on this. There you can see right there, New Mexico. That's the problem. 0.192 for this product. That is not ideal. Okay. That's on vinyl LPs. So, you know what I recognize here is normally vinyl LPs actually are closer to $19. This is actually just a decimal in the wrong place. I'll bet you that's what the problem is. In fact, I've on this screen over here, I've just verified it looks like the input was put in wrong by T. Tidsdale. So we're going to have a talk with T. Tidsdale and make sure that they're getting this thing in properly, maybe put some rules in that form, but all right, well, let's hope that we've caught that now. Bounce back over to Bigeye or do a little bit of a verification. So I'm going to go and I'm going to backfill this and look back now that I've made that correction to see. There you go. That was it. Okay, perfect. So we've got this resolved. We've got this resolved. Now we can go through and we can find these related issues, and we're going to get all of those closed off. Now, if I wanted to verify this, if I wanted to create a better insight into it and to understand even down to the actual product that was the issue, I can actually go in. I'm going to go right into the catalog here, navigate down to this market updates thing where we had all this happening. I'm going to refresh that. There, back to normal. Good. So we've got it fixed. But one of the things I want to do is I want to create some more metrics that are going to alert me before it makes it this deep into the pipeline. It was all the way to that dashboard before I caught it. So I think what we'll do, this is a pretty, if this is the only table to where we have human interaction, then we're going to watch this a little more carefully for errors. So, you know what, actually, I know T. Tidsdale specifically, it has been a bit of an issue with getting things entered. Now, until I can correct that form and fix how it's entered, I'm going to watch T. Tidsdale. I'm going to watch for, well, let's see. We're going to watch the average price that T. Tidsdale is putting in. Okay, so let's do baseline price. We're going to do, we'll do a minimum this time. And we're going to just watch specifically T. Tidsdale. Just make sure we're spelling that right. Go. And make sure we've got the column market manager is correct. Good. And we're going to actually, let's further group that by the state code, because I know T. Tidsdale actually does a couple of other states as well. There you go. Yeah, T. Tidsdale has been doing other states. I'm going to look back over the last 30 days. I'm going to backfill this and see if T. Tidsdale has entered anything else incorrectly here. No, looks like it's all good. There's a little bit of a drop there with the one that we've created. We'll talk to T. Tidsdale and actually get that properly updated. But you can see it's nice and easy. You know, we can create these metrics, we can find issues, we can create metrics targeted to things that we expect, right? So that's the general workflow. That's the workflow of how we're going to actually capture these issues. Now, if anybody has any questions, I think now is a great time for Q&A. All right, looks like someone's typing here. All right. So question, how many and what types of metrics are there? Well, let's look at this. Okay, so I'm going to go into this prod warehouse here and open up the, actually, let's do prod warehouse and then this database here. I'm going to go into price reporting and start a new metric. So to answer your question about the types of metrics and where they fit, there are types of metrics that are going to fit on they're going to work on a table level, right? So we can choose table level metrics. And in here is where we watch things like those operational metrics, the base of the pyramid. We're looking for the reliability of the actual pipeline itself. And so here we've got freshness, read queries, row count, and volume. So really, really helpful stuff for knowing how things are working. Freshness is going to show me how old the data is in the table. Volume is going to show me how much has been loading in. Row count does a similar thing in a slightly different way. And then read queries will show us if there's a reduction or increase or anything around the number of read queries that have happened against this actual data source. So we can go in, we can create that on a table level. Now, if we wanted to go down to a column level, well, we have a numeric column in here. Well, a numeric has a lot of different values or a lot of different metrics that we can actually create or have around a numeric value. If we wanted to look at, let's see, product type, that's a string. Lots of different metrics specific to strings, right? So it really does depend on the type of data that it is that you want to monitor, what's available right out of the box. But we have got another question here. Do metrics need to be created manually, or will Bigeye automatically start monitoring for certain issues? That's a really good question. So I'm going to use this prod warehouse as an example here again. There's automatic monitoring that's going to happen on that freshness and volume. It's going to happen right across the board for everything that's in this Snowflake warehouse. Now, in addition to that, when we added this warehouse, or when we add a table or any type of source, we will do an initial look at the schema. We're going to look at all of the columns, the data types of those columns, and recommend metrics based on those. So we call those auto metrics. So you can see right here, auto metrics 87. This is based on, again, just the knowledge of the schema. So if I click on these auto metrics, you can see based on the data types, here are all of the auto metrics that have been recommended. Here's what's just available for your data type. We can actually drill right down to the operational types. We can go to completeness types. Let's see, numeric distributions, all sort. If you find something that you think fits the source that you're looking at, the table that you're looking at, or even the column that you're looking at, you can find it and just hit enable. Now, when I enable this is the first metric that I've created on this source. So it has asked me, well, how do we know how old the data is? Well, you're going to use the hour column because it's got a timestamp in it. How far back do you want to look to calculate this value that we're adding? I want to look back 2 days. And how often do you want to run it? 24 hours. Now, I've also configured it to do a 30-day backfill. So it's going to go back and it's going to virtually run every 24 hours for the last 30 days and provide those 2-day look back windows, calculate the results, and put them in the chart. All right, so let's enable that one right now. There we go. So now you can see I've just added a new metric right here, this minimum value one. And you can see it's already gone back and it's actually populated a full 30 days back. Right. So now there are different types of thresholds as well. This has got an auto threshold on it. So with this auto threshold, we use Bigeye's machine learning that goes back and it looks at that 30-day history or further back or not as far back if you want. And it looks for things like seasonality, growth over time, and it starts making some prediction as to what the next values should be. What is the range of values that are acceptable? I think a good example of that would be in some of these here. Let's actually look at the one that we had an issue with earlier on that market updates one. Here, we're going to have a threshold that follows that upward line. It actually forms right around that upward line. And anything that goes outside of that threshold is going to create an issue. It's going to notify us, and then we can go in, we can use that same workflow that we looked at earlier. All right, well, we're a bit over time, or we're actually nearing time now. If anybody has any other questions, I think the best thing that we can do, the best way to see this is to get in touch specifically. There's no better way to understand this kind of solution and how it fits your environment than discussing your environment. This is what I do as a solutions engineer here at Bigeye. I work with you to understand your data, to understand the types of anomalies that happen, that occur on your data, the types of things that keep you up at night, and work to build solutions for anomaly detection and observability to give you confidence in that data, to make sure that the confidence in those machine learning models is high, right? So yeah, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Just paul@bigeye.com. And if you have any other questions, if you want to meet and look at your specific situation, just let me know.